Hello everybody. Welcome to another Q&A Sunday. Right, I think we're good. Everyone see me clearly? Yeah, I think that's fine. So right, welcome guys to another Q&A Sunday. So if you've joined before, you'll kind of get the flow of how this works. If not, and it's your first time, basically tonight is all about you. So any questions that you have, anything that's on your mind and you'd like me to answer, please do throw your questions at me, write them in the comments, and I'll try and get those answers tonight. If there's anything that I can't answer, which is probably unlikely, I'll probably send you a message just to let you know if I cover it in another video in better detail. So I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes and wait for a few more people to join, and then we can kick it off. Just get my laptop on my lap. Right, so generally I tend to have like a backlog of questions that I have ready to go anyway. So just in case maybe you're a bit nervous and you don't want to start first and put up your questions, I'll start with the questions that I already have prepared from people before. But yeah, if you do have any questions during the session, anything comes to mind, please do drop them in the chat, in the comments, and I'll get those answered for you. Right, so I think 1 minute past, I think we're good to go. So right, let's get into the first question. So the first question I have today is one about trading actually. So the question is how to get into trading. Now, first thing I want to say is that I'm going to assume that you're talking about stock trading and not just investing in stocks and shares. Now, the reason I want to call that out is because I'm not trying to sound like condescending or anything, but I did create a video talking about how basically I used to see the two simultaneously. So I used to see stock trading the same as sort of like investing in the stock market, and they're two very different things. If you're saying that you want to trade stocks, that means you're more just looking for short-term gains and short-term profit. So if you want to start trading the stock market, I'd say you first of all really need to start with a great foundational understanding of what it's all about. You need to have a good understanding of the financial markets, because that's so key. Understanding the financial markets will really be able to help you make better decisions about buying and then selling, especially at the right times, because that's what stock trading is all about. It's all about buying and selling at the right time so that you can see that short-term profit and really make the most of it. So yeah, first thing you want to do is invest a lot of time in your education, have that good understanding, learn how to read charts properly and all those kind of things, know when to buy and when to sell, and yeah, just basically make sure that you're really ready to enter that world, because it is very volatile. It's possible to make loads of money, but at the same time you can also lose loads of money. So yeah, just definitely take your time. There are a lot of firms and companies that allow you to start off by trading with virtual money, so that at least you can get your feet wet a little bit and understand what it's really going to be like. But at the end of the day, you're never really going to get a feel for it and be able to, I suppose, take it seriously until you start putting your own money into the game, because once you're playing with virtual money, naturally you're going to be more comfortable with taking risks to try and see if you can make more money. But obviously when it comes with doing things with your own actual money, that's when you will see whether what you're actually learning or what you're actually trying to do is working out for you. So yeah, that is what I'd say about getting into the stock market. Definitely invest a lot of time in educating yourself on the financial markets, all the tools, reading the charts properly, and then from there get linked up with a broker, and then open up a brokerage account. So there's loads of platforms available. Just have a quick search online and choose the one that suits you most. So I think that's that question answered thoroughly enough. Next question: how does one plan a second property? So this question, I'm not really sure how to read into it. I suppose you do a second property similar to the way that you went about the first one. The only thing is that once you do have a first property, you may, I suppose, depending on the value of the property that you're looking to buy as a second one, you may not need to use as much of your own cash. And I'll say that because if you've got a property and maybe you've had it for a while, it's increased in value by quite a bit, then you're actually going to be able to release some equity from that property and then use it towards the second property, which is what a lot of investors and even residential buyers do. So yeah, if you're looking to get a second property, you might want to do that yourself also, rather than having to use a lot more of your own savings to put in the deposit for that second property. So hopefully that answers that question. Before I move on to my next question, for anyone that's just joined, welcome to Q&A Sundays. So in these sessions, I pretty much, I'm here for you, here to do or answer whatever questions you have on your mind. So if there's anything that you've been thinking about, anything you're unsure about, then please do let me know in the comments and I'll answer that question for you. So moving on to the next question. When your first purchase is your forever home, how do you go about purchasing another property? Well, when your first purchase is your forever home, I don't know how likely that is for a lot of people, because likelihood is that over time, as you grow older, your taste will change. Maybe like you start a family, and so obviously you have more needs. You need more rooms for the kids. Maybe you want a guest room, maybe you want to study like myself. So I feel like your needs will change. So your first home, I feel like it's very unlikely that it's going to be your forever home. And so even if you did buy a home first time around and you felt like it filled all your requirements and it was everything that you needed, hey Deborah, I suppose that in terms of, buying another one, it's like what I spoke about in answering the last question. If it's a case that maybe you want to buy another property maybe for investment purposes, then similar as I said earlier, follow the same kind of steps. You can release equity from the property to buy another one. Yeah, I don't know if I'll answer that question. I feel like I have, but if I haven't and you're here, please do let me know or elaborate a little bit more, and then I'll try and cover that better if I can do. So yes, that's question number 3. Question number 4, what courses to do to bring in other income? So I mean, there's hundreds, thousands of courses available now, isn't there? Everything's available online. I'd say start off by doing a course in an area of interest. So whatever you're interested in, whether it's that you're somebody that's interested in maybe graphic design, computer science, all those kind of things, engineering, hairstyling, makeup, anything, whatever your interest, start off there. Try and do a course to tighten up those skills, improve those skills, and maybe you can start offering a service whereby you can charge people and make more money for yourself. Outside of that, if it's not like a side hustle you're thinking of, maybe it might be in your field of your career. If you're on a particular career, you want to start earning more in that career or in that line of work, then do some training or qualifications that are going to boost you and basically be able to enable you to go for the higher positions within that industry or that field. So that would be my advice. Guys, please do not be shy. If you have any questions, please do let me know in the comments and I'm going to answer those for you. Right, next question. Do you recommend any books or courses to learn the whole process of deal packaging? Do I recommend any books? So I haven't personally read any books on sourcing. For me, especially at the time when I decided to go into property sourcing, I didn't feel like there was that much in terms of like readily available information for me. But one resource I did find very helpful was Goliath Sourcing Academy. Now, I believe they do have a course. I didn't take their course, but they have loads of information available on their website. I think they're really great. And in terms of information about sourcing, like they have a lot more than any other content creator or sort of platform that I've seen. As well as that, I've also got loads of content about property sourcing also on my channel. So if you do want to check that out, please do feel free. But yeah, outside of that, I didn't take any courses on sourcing. I think the biggest hurdle that most people will face is about the compliance stuff and also about like setting up contracts and things like that. But I don't necessarily feel like you need to go and enroll in a course to find out how to do those things. So yeah, do your research. As I said, my channel, I've got loads of information about sourcing. Goliath Sourcing is also another one. Hey Janae, how do you speak to estate agents on deal sourcing? How do you mean, how do you speak to them? Because it just be like a normal conversation that you'd have with anyone. So maybe if you're trying to work with estate agents to do deal sourcing, you just want to sort of like get in their good books. Like you want to get like, sort of well acquainted with them so that even before they put properties up on like, Zoopla, Rightmove, they get in touch with you and let you know about deals before they go out to the open market. I think that's your best bet, because if you're relying on agents to do property sourcing, then you're kind of I don't know, you're not giving yourself the most opportunity, because at the end of the day, people who are looking to buy property are also looking on Zoopla and Rightmove. So if that's sort of like your source, then it's just almost like, okay, Why am I paying you as a sourcer when I've probably already seen the property you're going to send to me? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, if you want to use estate agents, I mean, naturally you will, they're a great source, but if they're going to be your only thing, then you want to make sure that you're really like pally with them, so that, you know, you're sort of like number one on their mind when they get a new property. So yeah, hopefully I answered that well. How long did it take for you to get an investor? For me, I think not that long, to be honest, but that's really because I've used my platform a lot. So obviously you see I create a lot of videos on YouTube, on Instagram as well. I create a lot of content, so I think people are well acquainted with me, so I just use that to my own benefit. So rather than maybe doing some of the more traditional methods to find investors, I did a lot of mine over social media. At the time I started sourcing, Clubhouse was really big. I mean, a lot of people still do use Clubhouse. I don't so much, to be honest. But yeah, Clubhouse was really big. Jumping into the different rooms, you know, getting involved in the conversations that were being had. Yeah, just putting myself out there, especially going into the sort of, what's the term? The sort of networking, speed networking type things in Clubhouse. So going into the rooms, and then everybody gets an opportunity to sort of say, you know, who they are, what they do, and who they're looking to connect with. So those are also great for building up like those kind of, you know, relationships and networks. So yeah, doing things like that. Again, posting loads, you know, I'm a property sourcer, this and that is what I do, this is what I can help you do, you know, phrasing it in different ways as well. Do you have a property that you want to sell? That way you can get in touch with sellers, and that way you can see if they're sort of like motivated. And in doing that, you can also identify how you can get like below market value deals, because obviously if you come across a motivated seller, it's going to be quite likely that you're going to be able to get a below market value deal for an investor that you may also have. So, you know, working with the two really to try and see how you can help each other, that is really the best way to go about it. So yeah, I use a lot of social media, LinkedIn also, loads of investors on there. It's just about like using all the resources available to you really. You can also do leaflets and flyers, but we all know that, you know, a lot of people aren't, you know, fond of paper mail nowadays. Like, I know I'm not. So there's also that, yes, it works for some people, but then for others it may not be the best method, because it's going to cost, you know, a bit, printed materials, posting them indoors and all those kind of things. But I mean, it does bear fruit for some, so it's not totally something that, you know, you might write off. So yes, that's that question. Thank you for that question. So yes, quickly reset the sort of live. So guys, welcome to Q&A Sunday. So this session is all about you. If you have any questions, you'd like to know anything about property, personal finance, whatever it may be, let me know, and I'm going to get your questions answered tonight. So without further ado, let's get on to the next question. Where was I? How do I get into the property market? I think I've touched upon this even in the last live actually, but essentially you just need to sort of find out where you're at. So what kind of capital do you have available to you? Like, why do you want to invest in property? What are your goals? Like, is it like a thing where you're looking for long-term profits, so more of a capital growth thing, or is it that you want short-term gains? So, or yeah, do you want short-term gains? If you're somebody that's looking for like the short-term monthly cash flow, you may want to look into a buy to let. If you don't maybe have the capital to put down a deposit, you might want to look into rent to rent. If you don't even have like enough to put towards a rent to rent, because they can be a little bit pricey as well to get started with, because, you know, you're going to need a deposit for the landlord that you're going to work with. They want a couple of months, you know, rent down. You may also need to do some refurb work on the property that you're going to take off them for rent to rent. So if that's also not feasible for your current situation, you might want to start with property sourcing, which is why a lot of people are going into property sourcing, because literally you can set up your business from as little as £600 to £700, and that's based on the compliance. Outside of that, you don't really need anything else to start up a property sourcing business. Like, you know, it's a lot cheaper than anything else. So yeah, it's all about identifying what your goals are with property, and then what capital do you have to start with really. I think those are the two main things. outside of that, it's just about looking at the different strategies and seeing which one kind of like flows with you and which you like the sound of. I'll actually link in the description box and also in the cards videos where I talk about different property strategies, and then hopefully they'll be helpful in helping you decide what you can get started with. So next question: what kind of insurance would you suggest I get as a full-time investor? So as a full-time investor, there's not really any fancy insurances or anything that, you know, is legally required apart from buildings insurance. So that's just the insurance to cover your property, obviously, while you're letting it out. Outside of that, it's also a good idea to get landlord insurance, rent guarantee insurance, sorry. So that rent guarantee insurance just basically, it does what it says, really. So it's a guarantee that you can continue to receive your rent if you get a tenant that for whatever reason they stop paying you your rent. So yeah, that's another good one. I didn't get it initially with my first property just because I felt like, well, it was more based on conversations that I had with like other investors. It kind of seemed like something that wasn't really necessary. It just seemed like one of those insurances that, you know, sort of fit into the category of, you know, just paying money just for the sake of it. But the more I look into it, and obviously as I'm trying to build my portfolio, it's definitely something I'm going to implement for the next, you know, properties that I get, just because, yeah, although it may take a while to make a claim, I suppose, obviously if your tenant stops paying rent today, it's not going to kick in, you know, within the next day or within the next week or month or whatever. But at the end of the day, you will get your money, and it's better than nothing. So I think, especially for the cost of it, it's not expensive. I think it's about, what, £20 a month for that kind of insurance. So if you're trying to run property as a business, you're doing it through a limited company as well, I definitely think that is something worthwhile getting. That is the rent guarantee insurance. So yeah, I think those are the insurances that you should get as a landlord. Yeah, someone going into property investment full-time. I think that was the question. Yeah, what kind of insurance would you suggest I get as a full-time investor? Yeah, if you're looking to get into like buy-to-let type investments, yeah, those are the things that you need. If it was property sourcing, you'd need also professional indemnity insurance. And what was the other one? Again, I'll link to the video talking about all the kinds of like compliance that you need to set up for property sourcing. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but yeah, I'll link that in the cards also, and also in the description box. So yes, to be honest, that was all the questions that I had like sort of lined up in readiness for this live. So guys, the floor is all yours now. Please do let me know if you have any additional questions, anything else that I haven't already covered in this live. Like, this is your time. Do not be shy. Just let me know anything on your mind, any questions you have, property sourcing, investing in buy-to-lets, personal finance, literally like anything. So yeah, feel free, and I will answer your questions. But in the meantime, whilst we're waiting, so yeah, these Q&A Sundays, is if this is your first time joining, I tend to do these, well, I do these every last Sunday of the month. So the next one will be next month, last Sunday in November. So if you don't have any questions this time around, you can't think of anything, please feel free to join next month. You know, come with your questions, and then we can, you know, talk it out. So yeah, I don't want to take any more of your time if nobody has anything for me. I suppose I've covered everything then. Most times people do tend to have like similar questions, so that's good. Right, I think that's about it for this session. A bit shorter, but yeah, thank you to everybody that has joined tonight. You make these sessions really lively and enjoyable for me. It's great to be able to have a bit of a deeper connection with you guys, so thank you for taking your time out. Sorry, Shalina, I didn't see it, because this chat thing, it just pops up and it disappears. Sorry, Shalina, what was your question? Oh, I think I can see it now. Do you raise private finance? If so, what has your experience been? No, I haven't just yet, to be honest. No, don't worry about it. Thank you though. I haven't so far. I have been approached by some private investors. So after my next one, I will start to use private investors actually, just because we all know that there's only so far that you can go trying to like raise your own capital. But for me, one thing I was very like hesitant about doing it, or the reason why I didn't do it in the first place, is because I'm the kind of person, like, if I'm taking someone's money, like, I want to make sure that I legitly have a plan as to how like this and that is going to work out, how I'm going to pay them on time and all those kind of things. So I suppose getting started, I didn't want to do it with anybody else's funds. I just wanted to manage it on myself, you know, see how it works really as a business, kind of know the ins and outs, and then like proceed to work with, you know, other investors. So yeah, that's my reasoning. But yeah, after my next investment purchase, I will be looking at private finance actually, because that is definitely a good way to go about it and building a portfolio quicker. So yeah, sorry I missed that, Shalina. Hopefully that answered the question properly. Okay, no problem. Right, so guys, as I was saying, thank you so much for joining. If there are no more questions, I'm going to leave you all to have a lovely rest of the evening, and I will catch you in the next Q&A Sunday next month. So thanks again, and have a great rest of the week, or start of the week should I say. Take care. Bye.